Hello, you're listening to the debut edition of Web 3.0 Art Channel, hosted by Digital Art Fair. My name is Paul Howard. I'm the co-founder of Digital Art Fair and a big NFT collector myself. Joining us today is Matthew Cook, one of the co-founders of Mural Fest and a partner at Crypto Week. Here in Bali, we have an eclectic collection of Web 3.0 developers and builders with us this week. And I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank Matt for joining us as we delve into some of the details behind Mural Fest and why there's so many crypto people here in Bali at the moment. Let's start the conversation with you telling us a little bit about yourself, Matthew.
Sure, thank you. First of all, thank you very much for having me. This is a real honor and a treat to be here. My story starts back in California, but I only lived in California until about the age of 13, and that was when I moved to Hong Kong. I think we have a bit of a Hong Kong connection in common. And a love for Hong Kong, actually.
We do, yeah. I was there 20 odd years, most of that in traditional finance, but now branching out into something a bit more creative.
Sure.
It'll be great to learn a bit more about your journey into that creative environment and why you chose Bali.
Yeah. So, yeah, I went to high school in Hong Kong. And then after high school, I worked in China for about 8 years after university. And so my journey in Bali started full time about 8 years ago. But I have a long history with Bali since 1993 and a deep love for it. And so I guess what really put me here right now is an experience that I had that changed my life forever. My father passed away here in Bali about 5 years ago. And I truly believe that I wouldn't be here doing what I'm doing now unless that experience had happened to me. So, sometimes you just have to surrender and follow your heart. And that's what I did. I moved away from my current environment at the time, which was China, to come here to Bali and focus on trying to give my father as much care as I possibly could while he was suffering from Parkinson's. And so through that whole journey, we lost him, but I gained a whole new outlook on life and a passion for sustainability, which I always had. So I started to dive into that a little bit deeper and was trained in permaculture. And we launched a business that produces rainwater beverages. Actually, we're drinking the Bali rain right now. But through that whole journey of creating a sustainable beverage brand, it got me into the community that is focused on creating impact. And so during COVID, we had a little bit extra time on our hands because businesses were a bit slower. So we started to dive into the crypto world as well. A partner in Hong Kong, we decided to jump into the crypto world, and a year and a half later, here we are. We understand a bit more about this whole blockchain arena, and the power of how NFTs can transform, business models in particular.
From what I understand, Mural Fest, you'll be connecting with NGOs, effectively charities, for a lot of the time to have an impact on social projects and social communities. Maybe just talk us a bit about sort of how you've gone around that with some of the projects you've worked on.
Yeah.
And I guess if I put my business hat on for a moment, sort of how do you go about funding those projects on the other side with the NFT? That would be interesting to hear about.
Yeah, so the idea behind it is pairing artists with NGOs. So each artist and the NGO, they have to align, and then they decide that this is a project that they want to go ahead and kind of partner on. So through the minting of an NFT, we're able to then have a long-term funding model for certain projects. This is all based on a collection that is produced after a physical piece of art is made. The last event that we had, for example, you could show up to the event and what you would witness is artists, painting live murals and also on canvases. Those were all representative of NFT collections. And so we pre-minted those. So they were live assets on the blockchain and they were collections on OpenSea. So when people come to this physical space and they get to witness the artist actually painting something physical, they would be able to connect their wallet to OpenSea on the spot and purchase that NFT collection there. Although there is a placeholder at the time, so the NGO's logo would be there.
Yes.
But then later on, as the art was completed, that would be swapped out for the actual the logo of the NGO.
Right. Yes.
So then that would be a collection, and we modify the color schemes and things like that, so everybody has a unique asset. But that is one way that we are bridging, I guess, the real world to the blockchain. So it's physical art that is becoming, digital art, essentially.
And then on the other side of that, you've got the NGOs who presumably will be receiving the funding that you get from the artists' NFTs.
Yep.
Maybe talk us a little bit about some of those projects.
Sure. So each NFT has a smart contract, and the smart contracts are programmed so that the artist has their wallet included, and then the actual NGO will have a wallet as well. So what we've done is we've created our own yayasan, which is called Samesta Bhakti Mandiri, and that is essentially the vehicle or the funder of these yayasans. Okay, so we have a wallet where the funds will come into, and then we will dispense or deploy the capital according to the needs for specific projects. So in general, the NGO on average from all of our collections now, I think we have about 30 something collections already minted. The NGOs that we work with generally get about 40% of that. The artist usually is about 20%, but each collection is unique. Yeah.
And when somebody then goes to resell that in a secondary market, does that translate into additional funding for the project?
Yeah, absolutely. So the beauty of the NFT is that there is something called a royalty, right? And so not only are we using NFTs to create digital assets, but we're also trying to have that be something like the gift that keeps on giving, so to say. So the artist and the NGO all are programmed into the royalty kind of scheme. So what we're working on right now with our advisors is to try to kind of assess the tokenomics behind all this and how we can continue to have these NFTs increase in value and incentivize the secondary market trading. One thing that we're doing right now, and on Wednesday when we have our event at La Brisa, which is the impact day of Crypto Week, we are including perks in our NFTs. So each NFT that you purchase, you as a buyer or owner will then be able to go around to different businesses or services in Bali and enjoy discounts or certain access. So that's one way that we're adding value so that there's something that people can actually trade if they want. There's a validity period for the perks depending on the price of the NFT.
Yes.
But long term, we plan on adding elements of DeFi where you can stake these NFTs, and that's a whole realm that I'm not an expert in, but we'll be including all those experts in the team as well.
Amazing. So we talk about Crypto Week, and that's really why we're here. One of the things that I've found surprising over the last few weeks has been the number of attendees who are flocking here to Bali. I think the last count I saw was over 150 crypto companies coming to the week that we have here. Why is it that people are coming to Bali, and what do you think is making Bali that sort of center of attention at the moment, and especially for the Crypto Week?
Yeah, it's amazing to see, actually. I've been here throughout the entire duration of the pandemic, and literally in the last 3 months, things have blown up, and Bali has become what we feel is one of the most sought after places in the world to visit, not only because it's a beautiful tropical paradise, but because of the crypto community and the ecosystems that are developing. So me personally, I'm the co-founder of Off-Chain Bali, which is a networking group here. And we are also collaborators with Mural Fest, as well as all of the other community members. There's plenty of other groups out there doing great things to build the community and move the blockchain adoption in the right direction. And I think that Bali is a unique place because it's very different than Jakarta. It seems to me and to many others that they're a bit more relaxed here. So even the Jakarta projects are coming here to develop and build. So I think that also Bali is a place where it supports digital nomads and also the creators and entrepreneurs that are being attracted to this island are kind of probably some of the greatest minds in the world these days. I think that Bali has put itself on the map for tech innovation, kind of remotely, and now you have the likes of Toko Crypto, which is affiliated with Binance,
Yes.
And you have all of these different groups out there. So I'll just say So you have Toko Crypto, and you have the T Hub, which they've just created. So the T Hub is a bit of a crypto hub, co-working space that's hosting a lot of different events.
Right. Yes.
Some of which is we do our events there as well.
Right.
But I think the first thing that we should think about is, why is it right now? Why is Crypto Week right here, right now? Is the CoinFest Asia is the culprit? I think CoinFest Asia is the first massive international conference that Bali has ever had. So I think that was really the inspiration behind Crypto Week, was to really kind of use all of this momentum that has been built up in the last several months, and really bookend Crypto Week as being the bookends of CoinFest Asia. So I think that it's definitely supported by CoinFest Asia, as far as they are contributors and they're supporting what we're doing, but it's definitely not a part of CoinFest Asia.
Yeah, and I think given the circuit, especially in the crypto world, there's a lot of these conferences that happen in Korea or in Singapore, London, Paris, Barcelona, Miami. This is an opportunity for Asia, I think, to demonstrate that we've got some really cool venues, a slower pace of life than you would get in, say, a city like Hong Kong or Bangkok or elsewhere. And at the same time as connecting with all of these creatives and all of these people who work in the industry, there's also a kind of holiday vibe that goes along with it as well. So it's a chance for people to relax and exchange ideas. And ultimately, when people are generally relaxed and happy, they tend to be coming up with better ideas than they would do on a high pressure stress environment. So it's great to see that development happen here in Bali. I mean, the food has been incredible. The people have been so welcoming. The sun has been fantastic. And I think, this is hopefully something that we're going to repeat year on year. So
absolutely.
Thank you for...
I couldn't agree more, actually. I think you nailed it on the head. After 2 years of pandemic, or almost 3 now, people are looking to, kind of to seek out environments that support them most, right? So I think Bali is a place that people can be relaxed, they can be healthy, they can be active, but they can also create, and I think more than ever now, that infrastructure and that support system is here. So that's making a big difference there,
Yeah. And you mentioned, obviously, the folks behind CoinFest. There's also Toko Crypto. There's other exchanges as well in Indonesia. Any other sort of big names that you see in the space coming through? Who are the other people sort of driving this project and driving the initiatives that you'd like to mention, perhaps?
This idea of impact, I think Bali, and especially the community that we're in, whether it be impact in empowering, Indonesians to learn coding or new skills, it doesn't always have to be associated with social or environmental impact. I mean, social impact can come in many ways. So I think that there's a community here that is unique in that sense, that their minds are switched on in different ways, and that paired with the Indonesian local communities, I think it's a beautiful kind of relationship, right? And so I think that there's huge potential to have Bali be a showcase for what's possible in such a small focused area. There's something I want to mention. There's a Silicon Bali is a collective of people that are coming together, and it's taking the form of a DAO. It's both Indonesian influential people. It will be project founders. Anybody that wants to contribute will be able to be a part of this. And it's something that is forming as we speak. And I'm also a part of it. The Mural Fest team is a part of it. So it's, I guess it's trying to bring the blockchain technology, Web3 and crypto to the highest level of its potential here in Bali, and really push forward the adoption in a really healthy, sustainable way.
Thanks, man. I'll just jump in now as well, because you mentioned DAO and Web3. One of the things that really excites me about Web 3.0 is this decentralization that takes place. So when you talk about empowering people in Bali, or empowering people from people who perhaps don't have a bank account, to people who are a sole creator or an artist, or somebody without a big team around them, Web 3.0 will allow them to have their own wallet, to have their own bank, to look after their own cash flow, to create and mint NFTs and their own artwork without having to go to a big organization to do that. I think that's really empowering for people. And obviously the spin on Web3 is also this idea of a DAO, which is a decentralized autonomous organization. Now, for folks who aren't so familiar with that, maybe you could just talk a little bit about what that means and how that is a community building tool and what Mural Fest is doing in that space.
Sure. I think it's a great topic because part of what we're looking to do with our roadmap for the impact fund that we've created is to have that be a DAO. Okay, so what does that mean? That means that there's a community of members that are governing this as a co-creation. So there's voting rights and proposals that are submitted, and then the members get to decide essentially how the use of the funds will be made, right? So
effectively like a voting right. So if I own a piece of the DAO, let's say there's 100 DAO tokens out there for this project, I own 10 of them, I get 10% of the vote. Right.
That's correct.
Okay.
That could be correct in one scenario.
Okay.
There's other ways in which you can prevent, I guess, certain parties from having too much power as well, which can be a very important aspect of that, because sometimes you hear stories about, certain whales coming into a DAO and taking control, which is something that is against all principles of a DAO. But for us, it's all about identifying new NGOs that we want to work with, but also how can we keep them accountable. And if an NGO is not doing, essentially what they said that they were going to do, then the DAO can also chime in and say, hey, we're not happy with the way this is going. We'd like to change this. And so this is a community decision versus some centralized kind of entity saying, we're going to send all of our money here and nobody's going to be able to see what happens with it. Right.
Yeah, and I think the openness of the DAO, allows other people to come into the project and exit the project as they wish as well, right? Rather than the corporate, which would be very cut off and try and trample on another corporate. Perhaps it's a little bit more community centric.
Absolutely, I think that it's important to think of a DAO in that even if you don't have money, you can be a part of a DAO because you might have skills or certain things that can be used to add value, and that could be a way to gain governance authority as well.
Right.
So it is a real way to bring people together to share different types of values and currency. Yeah.
Okay. And maybe do you have a kind of list? For people who are listening to this, what are the exciting DAOs that are out there? What are these projects that are helping shape the world, and how could somebody get into some of these projects?
Well, there is a DAO that I've researched a bit about because they're in the space of being a venture DAO. So it's called the LAO, which is a unique structure out of they use Delaware as kind of where they operate out of. They're a US based DAO. But it's essentially a fund where the community decides which projects they like. And I really believe in the power of the due diligence of a community. So if you're able to throw something up the flagpole and certain people are better at certain things, they can kind of pick holes in different aspects of what you might not be able to see. So I think that, that's a way to really have a thorough kind of due diligence process on things. So I really believe in the power of the DAO, and I don't think everything needs to be a DAO. And I think that a lot of times now there's a way to create more than one DAO within a DAO. So not everybody is in the same kind of group, because people's skill sets might be different, and you don't necessarily want certain opinions in every aspect of that.
Right. So we talked a little bit about Crypto Week. I'm also really excited for CoinFest. It's taking place in one of my favorite Ibiza bars, which happens to also be here in Bali, called Cafe Del Mar. So really interested to hit up Cafe Del Mar Thursday, Friday. It's got a great setting by the beach overlooking the swimming pools and the sea. Some of the big brand names from the world will be there too. I'll let you maybe tell me a bit about who you're excited to partner with and see at the event.
Sure. Yeah. I think there's a couple out there. You've got Binance there. You've got Emergo, Solana. A good friend Rich Robinson's representing Animoca.
Yes.
Yeah, there's quite a few others out there. A lot of venture capital firms. So if you're looking to network in that arena, it's going to be a great opportunity. But we've got BlockFi. Digital Art Fair will be floating around, I think. But yeah, no, it's an exciting time. Any others that you're excited about?
No, there's some big names. Coinbase will be there. There's a lot of, like you say, projects coming through the space as well. So a good opportunity to connect. Like I said, I think there's around 150, 200 people from different companies coming in. So that's going to be really exciting. In terms of the artists as well, obviously you mentioned, Mural Fest is a partnership, not just with the NGOs in the space, but also the artists. Maybe there's a few artists you'd like to just draw our attention to so we can do some research ahead of the event.
Absolutely. I think that's really important because what we're really trying to do is tell the artist story, the NGO story, the cultural story, all together. And so as we move along, we're building content that really showcases the artists, and that's really important to us. Local artists are a major part of what we're doing. There's artists like Goose Dark. He did a really nice piece at our last event. There's Duima Ban. He painted a beautiful mural and a skate bowl. And then there's Uncle Joy. Uncle Joy, he's awesome. You got to check out all very different styles. The list goes on. We have plenty more artists that we've worked with. You can go to our website, muralfest.com, and all of the art is showing there. And you can go into each. You can go through the artist or through the NGO, and then it will tell you all about the project that is associated with that particular piece of art. So yeah, take a look at that.
Awesome. That's great. And one of the things I love about the project is that you've also got this philanthropy edge to it as well. Now, traditionally, when I think about philanthropy, I'm thinking about the Rockefeller Institute. I'm thinking about the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Or Bill just donated another $20 billion to his foundation. Angelina Jolie is, picking up the mantle from Princess Diana and doing work with Cambodia's mine clearance, for example. What are some of the concepts that Web3 is able to bring into the philanthropy world that you see, helping kind of bring a charity aspect to technology and vice versa?
I think the beautiful thing right now is for Web3 to give more access to these types of projects. It doesn't always have to be about massive amounts of money and rich people. It can be about beautiful art and not necessarily a donation. It can we're trying to change the paradigm of what a donation really is, and so we like to say we're changing from donations to actually owning an asset, right? And that asset is the art that you get, but that is a way for you to contribute, no matter how small. Some of our NFTs are $30, but 40% of that will go to the NGO, and there could be thousands of them in that collection. So people that really identify with either the art or the cause or both, they can say, I've got an extra $30, and I know that's going to go to a great cause. So it really opens it up for scalability and access and involvement and engagement, but also through owning that asset, the artist is able to stay in contact, and future airdrops and things like this can kind of be a part of that.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that technology is able to do now, which is instead of what would have just been a donation at a gala dinner or something like this, it is now a piece of art. It is perhaps a token to discounts at shops or other events that are happening, or it's a perpetual airdrop that is happening. It's a community after the event has passed, which makes and facilitates a lot more than just the event itself.
Absolutely. So one thing I want to mention is that there's a tech partner named Nest, and they're an amazing team led by a guy named Charles Anderson. He's the CEO and the CTO and founder, and they've been working on building let's say a hyper secure omni-chain B2C app, but they also have a B2B side. And the beautiful thing is that this app it has a wallet in it, wallet functionality that has increased security features like self-sovereign identity and a few other things. But the simplest I guess thing that I want to focus on is that these artists or creators are able to create their own NFTs in app with the click of a button. And so they can program smart contracts very easily without knowing code. and this is I think a huge step in towards adoption and empowerment, so that people can use their photos to create NFTs or their art, and they can mint them on whatever chain they want in this app. But Nest also has their own on blockchain, so that it helps reduce the gas fees. They have 0 gas fees.
Right.
You can mint in app and then choose which marketplace you want to push to. Right. So that's something that we're using, and we're helping them kind of deploy that here in Bali, as far as the kind of accessing the community here. And the one thing that I also want to say about Nest is, and there might be other people out there doing this, but the only way to buy an NFT that most people know right now is through crypto, right? So that's what we're trying to also bring, is the accessibility to get involved in the technology and buy also NFTs using credit cards.
Yes.
GoPay.
Yes.
Even all the different means of payment. The payment gateways are now how we're also allowing the non-crypto natives to play a role in this, and they might get involved by purchasing an NFT via credit card, and then later on start buying crypto. So it's the opposite direction sometimes, right?
Yeah, isn't it? And I've seen CTM, like crypto telling machines, popping up in Hong Kong. There's a company called We5 that's putting these around, as well as several others, around Asia. That is something that I think helps, expose other people to, without having to understand anything about Web3 or the technology, how you can use a credit card or cash to pay for that. And this whole theme of decentralization, I think, is something that will gather speed. I mean, we mentioned obviously Solana are here. We've got obviously Ethereum, which is, some of these protocols are relatively what I would call centralized. There are some really exciting projects coming up, like one called Minima, which is run on a mobile phone. So effectively everybody can have a node on a network. So it's a truly decentralized network. And I think that, plus the technology and distribution of NFTs and the distribution of wealth being dispersed amongst a lot wider cross-section of society, is something that's just really going to help develop the space and help with economic development.
Absolutely. It reminds me of certain projects here in Bali in particular. There's one called ECTA, and it's been interesting to watch their journey, and they're working their way towards decentralizing even more, using their nodes that they're creating, and that's something that you can purchase through an NFT. So the NFT is actually one of the titles. It represents the title of the node.
Okay.
And these nodes are being 3D printed here in Bali using recycled plastic filament. And so ECTA, one of the main things that ECTA is kind of pioneering here in Bali would be tokenizing real estate and fractionalizing that. Among with many other things. They have a NFT marketplace and a few other interesting things within the DeFi realm. But yeah, definitely a project to take a look at and track to see where their journey goes, because it's an exciting time for people like them. Yeah.
Oh, superb.
Yeah. So the other thing that Nest is doing quite well is the B2B, or the back end. So NFT bulk minting NFTs. They're right now helping us with all of our smart contracts, and we are right now working on the perk program with them. So this is all in and around the same kind of concept of NFT ticketing. So the power of the NFT ticket and what can be programmed into that is mind blowing, and we're just scratching the surface with them on what their capabilities are. But we're very excited to continue to learn and implement the technology in that way through validity periods of different perks that are embedded in NFTs, and also feedback loops. So when you go to an event and you buy an NFT, you can actually give feedback anonymously, or it's almost like a new form of DAO in a sense. Through your NFT, you could feedback and cast a vote if you want, or something like that.
Gotcha. It's always exciting to hear the world of Web 3.0 technology, and how it's transforming the creative business, and how it is making artists and makers and producers out of anybody and everybody. Without the need to go to a centralized authority, whether that be a gallery or whether that be a commercial venture. It gives artists the power to have a choice, and whether they're musicians or whether they're creatives or they're developers, I think that journey that people are going on now with Web3 is really exciting. So, it's been a pleasure to hear and spend some time talking about that with you. Maybe before we leave, you could just give some advice. If there's one tip you could give to people who want to get involved with Web 3.0, maybe you could just pass on some knowledge to some of our younger viewers out there.
Yeah, I would definitely say that buy an NFT and understand how it all works. Understand what's happening. It can be a bit daunting. How you need to connect a wallet or create a wallet. I think that also just learning through different kind of resources. You can go on YouTube and start learning about what it means, what the blockchain is. Kind of just explore however you feel best. But I think that yeah.
That's great. I think I'll answer the question as well. I think the most important thing I would suggest is to get yourself a MetaMask account. Consensus have done a great job with producing that. It's a little add-on that you can put onto your browser, and once you've got that, that's effectively your wallet on your computer, and that will let you purchase an NFT. It will let you connect up to Uniswap. It will let you do all of these things that the Web 3.0 environment is enabling people to do. And whether you've got a penny to spend or you've got $100 to spend, that's something that you can do for free on the computer. So, look, we wish CoinFest and Mural Fest a great success. It's a real honor to have you in the studio today, Matt, and we're looking forward to a few more great sunsets over in Bali. And for anybody who's fortunate enough to join us, and we wish the team here all the best for the next week.